but the women that we know and love and that a lot of us are pursuing won't allow us to break the curses. You know, it's a thing, you know, just like you say, we talk about the BBLs and the lashes and the baby hairs and all that stuff. Like, well, men still want it. Women still like, okay, that sounds good. Even though we're telling you we don't. It's the same thing on the reverse. We have to, because this is the expectation of us. We have to be this version of ourselves, because you're not trying to date the nice guy. Guess who would have tweeted that? Russell Wilson. And y'all ain't checking for Russell Wilson. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host, Buff and Razi. Fellas, tell them what's on your minds.
It's heat, baby. It's hot. After we recorded last week, that was a Friday. Saturday, my AC went out. And I ain't talking about just the capacitor or some other little small part that you can buy and probably do it just something. I'm talking about the compressor, where you need a whole mother bleeping unit. So it went out at the worst possible time, because I was the first one to realize it, because it was still blowing on the inside, but I was like, damn, still feel kind of warm in this motherfucker. But Jasmine and Tabitha didn't say nothing. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm tripping, because I do get hot easily. By that night, man, I came and checked the thermostat. I was like, oh, it ain't getting cooler in the house. This AC out. So I say it went out at the worst possible time, because the next day is Sunday. Most places are closed Sunday. The 4th of July was on a Tuesday. So between trying to get someone out here to diagnose the problem and then getting somebody out here, because I need a complete new unit, the outside joint and the inside joint. It's been an ordeal, man. And on top of that, I had other stuff going on in the house, like new furniture, old furniture getting taken out, backsplash getting installed. Like, all this is going on. No AC, and so I've been checking in and out of hotels, just trying to give my daughter, I say my daughter relief, because my wife got her hot ass in the Bahamas. So she's enjoying herself while we sweating it up here. So they're finally here. So to the listeners, they actually came a day earlier too, because somebody canceled their appointment. So in the background, what you hear is Malcolm X, because I was watching Malcolm X when Ferg decided that we needed to record. So that's what you hear. Matter of fact, that's the end where he's getting shot. If y'all can hear that. And, so that's going on. That's going on, and the AC people are here. So you're going to hear a lot of background noise on my end. So I'll be on mute as much as possible. But that's what I got going on, Ferg.
Okay, so you were telling us before the show that you were watching a couple of Malcolm X films. You know, tell us a little more about that.
No, not Malcolm X, Denzel.
Let me see with Denzel.
Well,
same person.
Yeah, I was say some people think that somebody got a tattoo.
Buddy with the.
It's like Master P. What is it? Master P is Luther Vandross now.
Oh my God, how did that happen, man? So Rotten Tomatoes, they ranked all of Denzel Washington movies, and it's like 1 through 47. And as I'm scrolling, I already disagree with 46. That's way too low for John Q. There's no way John Q is his 46th best movie. They can get the hell on with that. Anyway, I'm watching them in order. Even if I already seen the movie before, I'm watching it. I've been judging his performance in every movie. And so far, I think his best performance, not imitating a real life person, because I think Malcolm X is one of his best performances. Fences is probably his best performance so far. I'm on movie number 9. I'm on movie number 8, Malcolm X. Crimson Tide was number 7. Much Ado About Nothing, 6. Mississippi Masala, number 5. I hadn't seen that one before. That's actually pretty good. Devil in a Blue Dress was 4. Fences was 3. Tragedy of Macbeth 2. And number 1 was Glory. The only thing I'll say, he hasn't had a bad performance so far to me, but the 2 Shakespeare movies, Tragedy of Macbeth and Much Ado About Nothing, to me, doesn't give him an opportunity to be Denzel. Like, he's literally just repeating the lines that are from the play. So it was kind of hard to enjoy his performance.
Could you? Well, a couple of things. John Q is low because of Kimberly Elise.
Oh yeah, you just reminded me. Oh man, yeah.
I just do not like her as a person, as an actress. I don't like her as a person because of her acting. Like, she just Secondly, Denzel cannot be Denzel in a Shakespeare. Like, could you imagine him being Denzel? Like, that's the thing. Like, that's probably part of his best acting, because in most movies, you still see glimpses of Denzel. And so in this case, it's kind of like, could you,
But that's some of the criticism Denzel gets, is he plays himself in every character. Like, he takes over every character. Yeah. But I mean, I can see him playing Mercutio, and talking about a scratch, ha, just a scratch, baby.
You stupid.
I can see that. Stella Hester would be proud of you.
Right.
Stella Hester would be. So you bite your thumb at me.
So I will say, out of the 8 movies I've watched so far, Crimson Tide, I think he brings something to every movie he's in. But Crimson Tide is such a good movie to where it could have been nearly anyone in his role in that movie. And that movie, I think, does just as well with or without him. Like, he doesn't exceed the writing in that movie. You got Gene Hackman, you got James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano rather. Got Joey from Rock in that joint. Like, you got a lot of actors that we knew that. But go ahead.
Agreed. But I think the thing about it is he had to downplay his character, because his character, there was this battle between, it was a power struggle. And so if he came in being traditional, I command the screen Denzel, he's easy to hate, because now he's overstepping. He humbles himself throughout the whole movie. Like, that's the whole movie. He's like, look, I'm smarter than you. I know this. I'm playing the game, and you can't stand it. Like, you can't stand it. So I saw it a few weeks ago. I was watching it, and I was like, kill that role. Because it was just a different version of a humble, because Denzel's the man in every other movie he plays. Like, he is the man.
Even when he's not the man, even when he's not the star, like Glory and A Soldier Story.
He steals Glory. Yeah. Glory, that single
tear when he's like you said, A Soldier Story. Like, he wasn't the main character in that, but it's still, you just see him like playing that role. So yeah, CJ was supposed to be there, but it's still not. Yeah. So yeah.
But even in Glory, he had a role, or his role was to be dominant, right? It was to be that uncontrollable Negro, that angry black man, that rage. He showed that rage, and I mean, you grew to love him by the end of the film.
So that's all. So I'll be keeping you guys posted as I'm on. So that's probably going to take me a few weeks. So I'll probably let you guys know what number I'm on each episode.
Okay.
But that's all I got. I understand, Razi, you were in Vegas, and Usher has been performing for a little over a year now. But a particular Usher performance in Vegas went a little viral. Were you in the crowd that day?
I actually was in the crowd. So it was 4th of July. We went to see Usher on 4th of July. And I was there for Usher Gate, Kekegate. I don't know what they're calling it right now, but so what was her name? It's Keke Shepherd, right? Palmer. Yeah, not Keke Shepherd.
That boy took it back. That boy took it back.
That's when you know you're getting up there in age, dog.
Right.
Wow.
Shepherd, Keke Wyatt, all the Kekes. But so Keke Palmer was in the audience, and so Usher does this every show, right? He finds people in the show and like kind of serenades them when it's like "There Goes My Baby" and all that, and just comes to find out that he's at the show, he's performing, and he hears that Keke is in the crowd, and so he goes over, he serenades her, and Keke loses her mind. Like, she fangirls over Usher. And so everybody, that's the video everybody has seen and everything. I was even there like, man, I didn't think that she would go that far, you know, being a star already. Like it's weird to see major stars be starstruck, and that's really what it looked like there. And so yeah, she was rubbing on him. It almost looked uncomfortable for Usher, actually. If you kind of look at it, like he does the whole side turn his body and all that, like it really looked uncomfortable.
Did you see the Ryan Davis breakdown?
I did. Yeah. Yeah, man, he did. He if listeners, if you have not seen that Ryan Davis breakdown of the masterclass that Usher did, it really is chef's kiss on like being famous and dealing with a fan, because even though Keke is a big star, she was a fan in that instance. Like she gave him full body on chest, like all that. And Usher did great. Like he held the towel in his hand so he didn't actually touch her when he put his arm around her. Like when she gave him the he turned his side so his went on her. Like I mean, it's just a masterclass in dealing with the public. And so, but yeah, we were there, man. It was crazy. But just, if you have not seen the show, I know everybody talks about how good it is and everything. It's long. He gives you your money's worth. It's a really, really long show. He probably, his last set probably could have got scrapped and you would have still walked out of there like, man, I'm satisfied. But it is an awesome, awesome show, man. I mean, and I knew Usher had hits, but I didn't know Usher had this many hits. Like, to be able to fill a full 4-hour block of show with his songs, and he still didn't sing all his songs. That's the crazy part about it. He didn't even sing all of his hits and still fill that entire 4 blocks. Had you rocking, had you swooning, if you bring your lady, you know, you're gonna be loving on her a little bit in there. It is a great, great show. And that was the highlight of my trip, because I've come to the conclusion that Vegas hates me. That's the only thing that I can think of. So the listeners out there that, you know, haven't been rocking with us over a year, last year, about this time, right? A little bit over a year ago, we were in Vegas for one of our friends' weddings. And I'm get through the wedding, get through the trip, getting ready to fly back home. And I have to check out at 11. I have a flight around 3 or 4. So I got a long time between. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to give the bellhop my bags and I'm going to hit Vegas for another couple hours. Come back and somebody stole my bags. More than likely, it was the bellhop that stole my bags, because we checked them in with them. They looked at the video. They said they saw him with them. They saw him take them back, but they never came back out. They lost track of the bags. So that was my last trip to Vegas. Then I go out this time. On the way there, American Airlines, they hate me too. They delayed my flight to an hour. I missed my connect. Had to stay in Dallas overnight. And fly into Vegas a day late. So I missed the night in Vegas there. Then on the way back, they delayed my flight 5 hours. Missed my connecting flight. Got to Dallas. Had to stay overnight in Dallas again. And then had to wake up the next morning and, you know, go to work after I got home. I got to the airport around 5:30, flew back at 7, got here about 9, and I had a conference call at 10 o'clock. So went straight to work from there. So it was, the trip was great, had a great time, but yeah, it was a lot. But I really think just Vegas hates on me. We're going back in 2 weeks, so I'm gonna try it again. So 3rd time's a charm, fingers crossed. So that's gonna be a great time. Buff, Ferg, all 3 brothers gonna be there. So we got to figure out something. We can do a live stream or something where we just sit around and just chill out. But that's all I really got. Oh, and just for the nerds out there, I just got to put a little bit of nerd land out there. The One Ring has been found. So there is anybody who plays Magic the Gathering or any of the Magic card games, they actually literally made a single card called the One Ring in the Magic the Gathering, and it's worth $2 million. And dude finally found it after about 1.5 years of looking for it. So dude's $2 million richer. He's not selling it. He got it authenticated and sealed. So it's going to stay in perfect condition. So yeah, that's just pretty dope to be able to find.
So he's not $2 million richer.
He's $2 million net worth richer. That's an asset.
Damn. Okay.
It's like owning art. So he is $2 million wealthier. We won't say richer. He's $2 million wealthier because he has that asset that he literally could put on an auction, or he can actually borrow against it. So as an asset. So yeah, I don't know what you would do with a $2 million asset, because if you borrow against it, you still got to be able to pay. So I guess debt to income won't let him pay that. But yeah,
I mean, unless he's well off anyway, But if you're,
it's very rare that you're gonna find somebody that's well off playing Magic the Gathering and out looking for Magic the Gathering cards.
Did you look for Magic the Gathering cards?
No, but I'm not well off though. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm not rich like Buff.
That is true.
Even if I was rich, the AC people are taking my money. So even if I was, I ain't rich now.
Well, some people would have had to just buy box fans for the rest of the summer. Buff, you made a quick decision. Yeah. It wasn't even a decision.
I was almost there with you though, bro. Speaking of ACs, Haley's room wasn't air conditioning, cooling, whatever you call it. It wasn't cooling right. And so she was getting super hot. And so I called my folks out, and they were like, yeah, we can't do another whole unit, but what we want to do is what they call a mini split, which is basically putting in a whole nother unit just for that room. It was going to be like $8,000 they wanted for that. And I was like, oh no. So I went and got a second opinion. So that's one thing, folks. Go out and get a second opinion, because I called another company. They came out and they were like, yeah, your trunk line has a big hole in it right there. Fix that and you'll be good. So I called Norel, which is my original AC folks, back out because they put the trunk in and they fixed it for free. So I got mine fixed for free only because I got that second opinion. But they weren't going to do that. They were going to try to put a split in and charge me for a whole nother line. So yeah, get a second opinion, guys.
Yeah, great. Did that make you feel any better? Did that make you feel any better, Buff?
A little bit. I will say I agree with his second opinion though, because we actually did get someone out here Sunday that wasn't even through our warranty people. But I'm like, yo, if it's something small, I'll pay the non-warranty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they came and gave us a quote. They said I need a new unit. So I was like, okay, bet. And this dude quoted me like $11,000 and some dollars, and was confused as to why I wasn't ready to pay right then. I was like, all right. I said, okay, well, I said, thank you. We'll talk it over and let you know. He's like, okay, but can I? Is there any reason y'all not getting it today? Because it's $11,000.
Well, apparently he looked around. He looked around the estate and assumed that right. You probably had.
He was like, you have a Basquiat on the wall, sir.
What you waiting on?
Yeah. For a broke dude like me, he would have showed me the financing options, all kind of stuff.
So
I'm not gonna lie. Is that like I get a little offended when folks automatically go straight to the financing option, because 9 times out of 10 I'm paying cash for it and I'm gonna pay out of pocket. But I just get offended when that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth is we have financing options.
I guess it depends on the amount of what it is. So like when these floors we got, when he mentioned finances, I was like, yes, I'm interested in that.
Especially if anything interest free. Yeah, interest free financing is you speaking my language.
Especially interest free, because like I'm gonna pay it off earlier than whatever the end date is for. But I like not having to pay such a large sum of money all at once.
Yeah, cash is king. You want to stay liquid.
Exactly.
So we glanced over this. Razi hit on the Usher part, but I want to quickly get the brothers' opinions on the whole Kekegate, or the whole Keke baby daddy gate, because they refuse to call this young man by his name. So
sometimes neither person is right, and neither person is all the way wrong. Like, I don't know why we can't ever look at the gray area or something. Like, we always have to choose a team. And when I say they was dragging this brother, my God, they tore him up, bro. And some of it was for good reason, because he initially was all the way wrong in just how he went about it. Going on social media, saying and doing what he did. That was foul. I like a lot of people were calling him insecure. I don't know if it's, well, here's what I'll say about that. People were calling him insecure for what she wore. I don't think it was about what she wore, so to speak. I think it was about, you know, what Razi described happened, like what actually happened between her and Usher that had him feeling how he felt. And people were calling him insecure about this. I'll just speak on two things on that. One, I don't think there's anything wrong with not loving the fact that your woman is, as Razi put it, fangirling over another man, even if he's a celebrity. We live in a society where everybody claims that celebrities are no big deal to them and that they're regular people just like everybody else. Yet I saw so many exceptions made for this example. Like, well, you know, that's Usher's, you know, she should be allowed to do that. That's probably one of her favorite singers. The other thing I want to touch on is, even if he was insecure about it, I thought we were in the era of allowing people to express how they feel about something. And
stop. We're gonna come back to that.
Okay, so now we just invalidate his feelings. Yeah, he went about it the wrong way, but even if he was quietly insecure, I thought we were allowed to express ourselves. So I get these mixed messages all the time. Men, express yourselves. And then when men express themselves, you bitch ass nigga, you broke, shut the fuck up. If you ain't ready to handle her, then you need to pass her to somebody else. Whoa.
How do we get here?
Exactly. So now I'm supposed to be okay with another man grinding his penis on my woman. I didn't know that was okay. But, you know, cool.
Save that, because I'm going to bring that back up a little later.
Okay. All right.
Razi, what say ye?
Yeah, I am actually a little bit on the boyfriend side. I feel him on, he didn't like the outfit. But at the same time, he posts pictures of her half naked a lot. And so that's why I grew above when he said that it wasn't about the outfit, it was about how she was acting or reacting to Usher. And he should have said that, right? I think by talking about you're a mom, so you shouldn't be wearing this. That was lame. That really was lame. Like, she's a mom, just had a baby a year, 2 years ago, and she looks like that. I mean, good job, mom. That's my thing. So I think that's a really, really a poor wording of what he was trying to get across with it. So like you said, Buff, I think it's a little bit of right on both sides, a little bit of wrong on both sides. Was she wrong? I don't think she was wrong. She fangirl. She did what she did. It happens. I mean, she didn't go home with Usher. It just got caught on video because she's Keke Wyatt. And along with that, I saw a post somebody was saying...
Palmer.
Yes, Palmer. I called him Wyatt this time, right?
Oh, man. I just was
Keke Palmer. So, because she's that, everybody, like, you know, it hit the waves or whatever. But I saw something that was like, somebody need to get Stennis on the line and let him give a class to all these side dudes or whatever for these powerful. Yeah, who did I say? Stennis. Shout out to Stennis.
That's an inside joke, by the way.
Stedman needs to get. Yeah. They need to give a class on just like staying in your place, man. You have an entertainer as a lady. She's gonna step out in these revealing clothes. That's part of her job, is to go out and sell her body, sell sex, sell like the I want her thing, right? That's how she gets guys to listen to her and stuff like that. That, I mean, even her female audience, that a part of it is I want to be her, right? I want to look like her. I want to be able to be stacked like that. And so that he has to understand that's just a part of what she does. Yeah, she got caught fangirling, but he needs to, yes, get himself together, not be as jealous as he is about it. Have that conversation with her one-off in the house, not on social media. But it happens. I mean, we probably not us, but a lot of guys do that exact same thing. talk about, wife shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that, yada, 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 when they get caught on social media or they get caught doing something that the guy wouldn't like, because they got to defend their manhood, right? It's like, I got to go on social media because all my friends saw her in this. So I got to go on social media and defend myself that I'm not a simp or whatever. I didn't like it. I didn't approve of that, and make sure that folks know that. It's stupid, but it is what it is. That's life.
Well, Razi, you kind of hit where you perfect segue to where I wanted to come in, because I agree with everything you and Buff said. You maybe gave a little too much out, but social media, both are victims of social media, right? You're like, he shouldn't have gone on social media to state this, but social media is where the video of his girlfriend, baby mama, is like, this is where it's at. Like, if I say that at home, that's good, but at the same time, Buff, Razi, Ferg, everybody's seeing your baby mama grind on Usher and doing all this. Like, it's already out there on social media. So what I see is two young people, because she's 29, I'm assuming he's around the same age, learning how to navigate this world that we're in, that probably none of us can give them real input to, because we've been dating, like, we weren't that young during this age, right? They're both young, navigating a child out of wedlock. Her being this huge star, him being Keke Palmer's baby daddy. Like, we haven't said his name the whole show. His name is Darius Jackson, but everybody keep calling him Keke Palmer, baby daddy. Like, this is what they're dealing with. So, and the thing about it, he should have said something before she went out. I'm assuming she was in Vegas where the show was at. I don't know if he was in Vegas with her, but it looks like a girl's trip. So he's not there. I'm assuming he's at home with the baby, possibly being a father. Who knows? And all of a sudden, your girl, like, nobody really wants to think about their wife, their girlfriend, whoever, going out to Vegas with a girl's trip and all this stuff. Like, shit happens. And then you turn on your computer, you look on your phone, whatever, and she's girl crushing, fangirling over Usher, one of the biggest stars in the world. Like, that hits his ego. And Z and I were talking about this. People said that he didn't protect her because he went out there and disrespected, and he was being misogynistic. It became black men don't protect black women conversation that we always hear. I'm like, okay, that might be right. I'm not going to discredit it. But there's two parts to this. He might not have protected her in this situation, and then she didn't show him the respect that he probably deserves in the other situation. I don't know about them specifically or the details of the relationship, but I saw so many comments where they were glossing over anything she did and what you guys are going to hate. And one of the main comments was, well, they're not married. So here comes that they're in a relationship. They got a baby together, but
yeah, you single
she's
until
still
you
single.
married. Right.
She's still single because they use that as that's what I meant when I was using argument. Like, because at the end of the day, people can still use that argument. I don't care what else you do together. You guys have not made the commitment. And it was just like finding little ways to downgrade her part in this.
Yeah.
That's what she does for a living. Yep. But Keke Palmer she didn't look like that a year ago. She didn't look like that 2 years ago. It's sometimes when you turn around, when guys get money, when women get a new job, they get, like, things change a little bit. That's not the same Keke Palmer people were checking for last year, 2 years ago. The baby helped her develop. That baby fat is doing good things for her. So I just feel we should give both grace, but we shouldn't be so quick to judge, and we have to look at both parts of it. It's not Keke is this victim. She went out there and, like you said, no man I know that really cares or loves the person he's with wants to see that. Period. I don't care how secure you are. You don't want to see that. So that's all I have to say about it. Let's keep the party going. Because I'm going to come back to what we were saying earlier, Buff, so I'll probably try to go first. Is Sophie here?
Yeah, man, she is. Hold on. Let me grab her.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other toppings, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pup, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
Good afternoon, Sophia.
Good afternoon.
Got your contacts in? You're squinting.
No, I forgot.
I was wondering, I was about to say, yo, are the contacts working?
She trying to do her
You
buff
gotta wear them
eyes.
every day.
She's
So-
doing her buff
'cause
impression.
They're like prescription, like contacts, eye fixing for her myopia or whatever. It's supposed to make her
What?
eyesight get better.
Myopia?
Yes. I don't know what it is. It is something to do with your eyes.
My
and so
eyeballs are weird.
basically, your eyesight shouldn't get worse using them. So she
Yeah,
has to
yeah.
wear them every day. It's not just
your
like,
opia,
yeah, it's your opia.
not mine.
She likes that.
I'm supposed to be the one telling the jokes.
I do the jokes here. Come on.
I do the jokes here.
Well, go ahead. Tell the joke then.
Why do beats never lose?
Beats never lose.
Because they're unbeatable. He didn't even know it, so he was also thinking.
Yeah, I was.
No one was going to get that one.
That
No, nobody was gonna get that one. No.
was an amazing joke.
Good joke.
Yeah,
All right,
good
go
joke.
put your
Good joke.
contacts in.
Yes.
I'll actually do it.
All right. I told you that 3 times. She went to Taekwondo this morning without them.
I
So
was blind. The teacher
About
asked
to
why I
get
was
roundhouse kicked in the face.
She said I'll sit a bit closer to you. I was like, okay, I still can't see.
Okay, well, welcome back to Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast where where you hear the questions, we hear the questions. So we don't give these thought. We don't discuss these before the show. So here it goes. But if you kind of were hitting on my question today, I don't want to use this as the example, but we can use it as an example, if that makes sense. So with that being said, one of the main things I heard about Darius' outburst and the way he responded, because I want to call him by his name and show that man some kind of respect, was, he was insecure. And so my question is, are men allowed to be insecure or have emotions that are traditionally deemed as weak?
Only unless you're willing to be called sassy and zesty.
And how do we get past that, though? Like, that's the thing. Like, aren't these the things that people are asking men to do? Like, isn't this part of the bigger problem? Why there's so much toxic masculinity out there? Is this because we're not in touch with our emotions? We're not doing this. We're not doing that. But insert this situation.
Yeah. Just like we said in the previous episode, toxic is the new racist. It's tell me how masculine you want me to be, right? If I'm, like Buff said, if I start showing my emotions, if I start being vulnerable, if I start telling you how I actually feel, then I'm being zesty. I'm not a man. I'm a beta male, right? Because I don't know, hit you upside the head and tell you to do it my way. I don't get it, right? If I tell you that I don't like this, and you say, screw me, I don't have any repercussions other than to leave you, right? And 9 times out of 10, women, because of that lack of respect, right? Because they're independent, because they can do it themselves, they don't need a man, then they just say, screw it, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and they totally disrespect that guy. And so now he has no other way to deal with you. So he either has to take it, or he has to leave, or he has to be that hypermasculine male that might go upside your head, or, you know, verbally abuse you, or something like that. So those are your 3 options, right? So you either submit, or you deal with one of those 3 options, because those are the only 3 options that's out there for a guy. And I don't think guys can be vulnerable in society right now. There are certain situations, maybe behind closed doors, where a good woman will let you be vulnerable and talk to you and be like, baby, I got you. I know you're tired. I know the world's coming down on you and you need help, and I got you and I got your back. That's not social norm, though. That's not if you do it publicly. If you get on social media and say, I feel some type of way about this, I don't like this, you know, I feel like the world's coming down on me, people call you weak for some reason. And how do we get past that? I don't know. I mean, I think it just takes time. It takes the what's his name, Darius Jackson's of the world saying, I don't like my wife or my lady in that. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but I don't like it. And dealing with the backlash of it. It takes us going on social media, talking about going to therapy and how we're having problems and everything like that. Like, it takes that.
Well, I'm glad you said we don't have to use this example, because Darius, while he does deserve some amount of respect, I'm glad we're saying his name, but he is a bad example. Like, on the one hand, you're posting videos of her twerking half naked. You're posting pictures of you in your underwear in the bed. On top of that, you're saying you want everything to be traditional. And I do understand the point that women were pointing out. You want everything to be traditional, but you ain't do the traditional thing and marry the mother of your kid. So he kind of shot himself in the foot with pretty much everything he tweeted. Now, to a larger conversation that we're having about this, I agree with what Razi said. I think it is okay for men to be vulnerable with that one woman that you're involved with behind closed doors. And might I add, not that often.
Right.
Like, you may have a good woman that says, hey, it's okay to cry. You probably got about two cries a year. You probably got about, and they need to be like, your mother passed away, your daughter hospitalized. It got to be something real bad. It can't be, man, I got passed up on the promotion today at work. You better figure something out. You know what I mean? So I think I think even that has limitations, but definitely out in public and things like that. A lot of these people that are saying that men can be vulnerable, this, that, and other, while on the other hand, when men do that, they call them all these different names. Like Marlo said in The Wire to their security guard, y'all wanted to be one way. Y'all wanted to be one way, your way. It's okay for us to express feelings and emotions when it aligns with yours. If it doesn't, then it's a problem. And I also say this, while I do give women, you know, I'm on their side as far as, you know, he's talking all this traditional stuff, Darius is, but he didn't do the traditional thing in marriage. Even if they were married, the conversation then would have been, see, this is why I'm not so pressed to get married, because men think once you become their wife, you can just control them. Just because he's her husband, that don't mean he can tell her what to wear and what to do. So y'all just pushing the goalposts on that one. If you're gonna be honest, you're pushing the goalposts on it, because it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if he was married to her or not.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I only brought that up because I'm like, it just shows that there's always that, they're always looking for that out, and that's just another excuse that they can't use. They would have flipped it another way, but they still can't use it. So I'm gonna ask you guys another question.
I think you're about to say it. Go ahead.
Is being insecure a bad thing?
No.
I'm gonna answer that for you.
No. No.
You know why? Because there was a whole, probably the most popular show in America called Insecure. Like, it was a show about women and people dealing with their insecurities and people being able to relate to this woman going through life, navigating life, dealing with her insecurities with her friends, her relationship, her parents, her job. But once a man becomes insecure, it is, the world has shut down. Not only can you not be insecure, like, it's to the point where you're lowered a level. Anytime a man shows vulnerability, or, you know, the things that most heterosexual men fear is being labeled weak. And those come into things like being gay, weak, vulnerable, insecure, is in your feelings. Like, everything describes like this image of a man that you're supposed to be. So like Razi said earlier, a few shows back, we talked about toxic masculinity, and my definition was, this is a perfect example of that, where there's this limited idea of what men are supposed to be, and you have to be it. Either if you're on the higher side of the hyper masculinity or the hypo masculinity. Like, this is the box of men. Like, anything outside of this box is negative, and even inside the box is negative, because it labels you and constricts you to be this machine of what we consider a man. So it's crazy, because people talk about insecurities. To me, insecurities are, there's two parts of it. It's the internal and the external factors that come from it. Like, internally, you might be dealing with something. You know, it could be those things. It's the fact that you saw that she's the breadwinner, right? And so for a lot of men, knowing that woman makes more money than them, there can be a level of insecurity. That's the world kind of, but the world is the group that pushes that on you. You're supposed to be the breadwinner. There was a lot of, well, she could do better. He needs to, you said he needs to sit back and learn how to be the side dude. His money has nothing with him being the side dude. Because if we say that same thing for a woman, you're misogynistic, because the money doesn't give you the power to go out and do what you want to do. But once the woman has the power, which equals money equals power, then go out and do this. External factors. The dude was called Keke Palmer baby daddy the whole thread. Like, if you go Google Keke Palmer, before it says Darius Jackson, it's going to say Keke Palmer's baby daddy. Like, we kept calling this dude Keke Palmer baby daddy. Like, those are things that contribute to you to being more insecure. So you ask this man if he's insecure. You're damn right he's insecure. He's a young black man trying to navigate dealing with a huge star who's coming to her own, who's expressing herself in ways that he's probably not familiar with, even if they do it on. I think we might have talked about this one time. I think you guys were going on vacation, or Tab was doing something. She was trying on bathing suits. And it's like, for me, and I'll be honest, there's things that Z can wear with me, but you ain't wearing that out there by yourself.
Right.
Like, you know, we're going to the beach. You and your girl, you know, on a girl's trip. You can't, maybe it was for the Bahamas trip. You can wear that shit with me, you know, in the Bahamas, but you ain't wearing this out there with your girls, you know, doing that thing. Like, there's things that I want you to be free. There's a certain level of freedom that we can have together. And maybe that's an oxymoron, but I can't just let, you know, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable you wearing this stuff out here in public, because why are you doing this? Why are you wearing this to Usher concert? Apparently you have feelings, or there's a certain attraction to Usher that we maybe have talked about, but it came out on camera. It showed, you can't hide that. You can't explain to me you just got caught up in the moment. No, you went all the way.
Yeah. And you know, we talked about that going into that, you know, stuff you can wear with me, what stuff you can't wear with me when you're not with me. It really comes down to the attention that you're going to draw, right? Like, if I'm there, that whole protecting women, I can protect you if something happens. If that guy that is like, oh, yo ass out in that bathing suit, so I'm going to smack it, right? There's a big difference of you doing that, where that guy might come up to you and do that, versus he's probably not going to do that if I'm with you. Right? Like, that's the big difference. I do have that insecurity of, you can't protect yourself, or you need me to help protect you in certain situations. And so that the attention that you're going to get, the attention that you're going to draw, I want to kind of, confront that and get ahead of that before it gets to the point where now you're in a situation that may turn bad based on the attention that you drew.
True. And I'm going to use one more example of insecurities that more people probably deal with, but don't connect the dots. I think imposter syndrome is a form of insecurity.
It definitely is.
It's just something, and so many people deal with that. It's like you recognize a good thing and you don't want to, I shouldn't be here. Like, I don't know why they're paying me. Like, they're going to find me out. Like, she's going to leave me for Usher. Like, he has all the money. He's this huge superstar. That is a reasonable thought. It could be the farthest thing from her mind, but that's a reasonable thought. And that's even if he didn't see her grinding on him. Like if she was just like, oh, I went backstage at the Usher concert and was like, okay, so who was all there? What happened? Like, you want to know because that's a reasonable thought. And we know what happened after that. She was in Vegas, people. She didn't come back home. She wasn't home with him that night. She didn't slip in the bed with Darius. Darius had to see that video, her still being Vegas, probably didn't answer any phone calls, all this stuff. And he had to deal with it. That's real life. Those are insecurities that people deal with. The same insecurities that women deal with when Razi doesn't pick up the phone fast enough. Or, she saw you, thought you were looking at a girl too hard. Like, those are insecurities everybody has. It's human nature. My biggest insecurities, and the difference is I've learned how to navigate them and turn them into try to positive thoughts, and it motivates me to do better by my wife to make sure there's little to no chance that anybody can step in. That's how I deal with it. I'm gonna tell you, when I wasn't insecure, when I didn't give a damn about who I was with.
Right.
I'll tell you about that
right.
much. Like, she ain't going nowhere.
You know that I love you because I care. Right? Like, that insecurity comes from, I actually love you and I'm scared to lose you. It's that's the insecurity part, right? I'm scared to lose you. I'm scared that something's going to go bad. Yeah.
And there's levels to it. Like, I'm 12% insecure, like, rather than chick than every time they date somebody, they're insecure and they're controlling.
So I think during the toxic masculinity question, I think Razi, you flipped it and said, is there such thing as toxic femininity? And I think we see it in this situation where all the women were calling him broke. It's okay for a woman to be broke. It's okay for a woman to not have a job and raise the kid. This man was presumably at home. I assume he had the baby with him, but he's called all these different names. Like, I thought we wasn't supposed to use money to lord over your significant other and call them broke or something whenever they speak out about how they feel. They're doing the exact same thing that they accuse men of doing for years. So they wanted to be one way.
It's frustrating.
And this is just us expressing our feelings, ladies. Please don't attack us.
You can attack me if you want to.
What you're not insecure about is this, right?
Yeah, they do. They want to be one way. So.
Yeah. And ladies, this is just, we're not saying we're 100% correct. This is how guys feel and how guys, when you verbalize the things that we're going through, and you can sit here and try to nitpick it all you want, or you can sit here and say, I never thought of that. Nobody's ever presented it this way. And start thinking about the men in your lives who can't really say how they feel. Zia and I had a conversation, in the course of a day, in the course of a week, in the course of a month, she can go through an emotional roller coaster. And like Byron said, I might have 2 moments, not even cry. Like, I have 2 probably times. I got 2 mulligans a year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2, but otherwise I have to be completely stable.
Use them wisely.
But then when we're unemotionally attached or we're unemotionally available, you have a problem with it because society has taught us our whole lives that we can't be emotional. So a lot of the things that we're dealing with as men are learned behaviors, and you can easily say, well, you got to start unlearning them, break those generational curses. It sounds good, but the women that we know and love and that a lot of us are pursuing won't allow us to break the curses. it's the thing, you know, just like you say, we talk about the BBLs and the lashes and the baby hairs and all that stuff. Like, well, men still want it. Women still like, okay, that sounds good. Even though we're telling we don't. It's the same thing on the reverse. We have to, because this is the expectation of us. We have to be this version of ourselves, because you're not trying to date the nice guy. Guess who wouldn't have tweeted that? Russell Wilson. And y'all ain't checking for Russell Wilson. Next question.
Yeah, I'll go, man. We've talked a little bit about it. Our homie PD Slay, Porsche, in our group, she brought up a viral post that's been going around social media, talking about what guys and guys only. What would you rather have, a gay son or a thought daughter? And so I wanted to go ahead, because it was some really good conversation in the text thread. I think the listeners need to hear that conversation and talk through it. So I wanted to hear you guys' reaction on the question in general, your answer, thoughts on, you know, what would you rather have, a gay son or a thought daughter?
You want to go first, Bus?
Well, unless we change, I think we all had the same answer, but I chose gay son, and my reason was because the whole thought daughter thing, sex is way more complicated than we, I think, as a society are willing to admit. Because on the one hand, there's this push to promote this sexual freedom and, you know, don't judge women, don't slut shame, and don't do all this. That's fine. That's all fine and well. But then we're also in a Me Too era, which has confused a lot of men, because you have some Me Too charges that are, to a reasonable person, like, yeah, he wrong on that one. I don't know what the hell he was thinking with that. And then you have some that's like, I guess I'll be quiet on this one because I don't know about that one. So you got all these complications. Like, it's like one of the number one things that we disagree on and have issues with, yet we try to pretend that it's this, you know, just free-flowing, easy thing to do. It's not. We talked about, you know, should we change the whole child support thing? And if a man up front says he doesn't want a kid, you know, and the woman doesn't want to get an abortion, should he still have to pay child support? Like, we got all these complications that come with sex. And so, and on top of the fact that it's dangerous as hell, like with all the different diseases out there, or, you know, men feel like they got the wrong signal and forcing themselves on women and things like that. So I wouldn't want not only my daughter, I wouldn't want my child going through that period. So that's why I went with the gay son, because a thought daughter, I know there's a push that's carefree and that's fun, and that's what, you know, social media, society, and Hollywood is pushing right now. But it's a lot of dangers behind it. There's a lot of complications behind it. Versus, I think, well, I'll let you say it when you answer, Razi, but you made some good points when you answered as well. And that, hey, at the end of the day, if they're happy, cool.
Okay, I agree with you, Buff. So yes, my answer is not a gay son. My answer is an openly gay son. I want to take it there because my brother's gay, who was on the show, and I have close friends who are gay as well, and I know more of their story. As they opened up, you learn more of their story, and they miss out on so much of their lives not being able to be who they are. You know, Buff, you've been dating Tabitha since 16, right?
15.
Yeah. And, you know, y'all been together since 15. And that's not your first girlfriend, right? Razi, like, hell, you started dating Allison in high school. You know, so my thing is, and that wasn't your first girlfriend. Like, we got to experience life. We got to love and have heartache and, you know, all those things and enjoy being just young. Where I was talking to Z, and one of my close friends probably didn't come out until his late 30s, early 40s, right? So she's not even 40 yet. So I'm like, you would still be living a lie today if you had to be in his shoes. So that's part of it. And then I'm comparing apples to oranges. Like, having a gay, there's nothing wrong. Having a gay son is like having a short son or a tall son. Like, it's just part of who they are, right? It's just, what I will get off my high horse and say, I know for all of us, we have a vision for how we want our kids' lives to go, right? So it's not the, like, people are necessarily homophobes. And I don't think by any means, even Byron's answer, somebody can turn that into like him sounding homophobic. It's more so like we have a vision of how we want our kids' lives to be. That's like, hey, do you want your kids to be rich? Do you want your kids to be broke? Well, if they're broke and happy, that's fine. It's like, I don't want my kids to be broke. Like if they're broke and happy, it's okay, but I don't want them to be broke. I want my daughter and son to be president and vice president of the U.S. and vice versa, and flip it over. Like, that's what I want for my kids. We want the best, the easiest life. But for the people who are homophobic out there and they're most sort of comparing it to like, well, I don't want a gay son and it's like, pause. And I don't mean that in the gay term pause. I'm like, pause and just consider that you're part of the problem. There's not even anything wrong with it. It's just part of life. It's nothing to be a part of. The thought daughter, like you were saying, Byron, I think the dangers that come with that are a challenge. Now, if she's sexually free, because I knew and know women who are sexually free. They were young, like, I'm in college, I'm having fun, I'm not trying to be in this long relationship. I know Buff, Razi, and Ferg are full of bullshit right now. They're only 23, 24 years old, and I'm focused on my school and stuff like that. I like to have fun, and I'm in control of my situation and in controlled environments. And they're very sexually free but mature with it. That's different from somebody who is, I think, when I think of thought, I think of somebody who is searching for something. And a lot of times you're going to find it. And it's not what you thought it was going to be. It's the thought, like you said, it's dangerous. There's rape out there. There's all these things that come with it, potential unprotected sex. You're looking for that fun, that thrill. And you get pregnant by, the futures of the world. You get pregnant like the fun you're having, enjoying life, but it's still, at the end of the day, you take that with you. It's something that's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, in the world we live in, your reputation, it's hard to overcome that. And I don't want her to deal with those challenges that come with that. Because the world, just like even having a gay son, the world's going to make it more challenging. But I think the world's becoming more accepting of one than the other. And I don't know how I could protect her or help her navigate that reputation. I don't know if there's like a thought community. So,
they call them city girls.
Yeah. So, like your kids can be part of the LGBTQI community. Like, they can be part of it. They can find their people. Like, it's like thoughts of a feather. I don't know. Like, if they can just, if there's a city, maybe Miami, where there's just like all the thoughts come together and thought powers activators, something. I don't know how that works, but openly gay son for 1,000, Alex.
Yeah. It was funny. What stuck out for me in the whole conversation, Ferg, you said, I don't care either one of those. What I don't want is a bigot as a child. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Somebody that judges either one of those kids. So that's ultimately what I think. I again, just like you guys selected the gay son and kind of what you were talking about, Buff. I said, I really truly believe that child was born that way. There was no kind of decision on it or anything like that. They were born that way. That's what they are. And like you said, it's no different than them being short, good at basketball, bad at basketball, like, not athletic, whatever. It just is what it is. And I'm going to love that child. I'm going to love my daughter, who's a thought as well. But the same way that I would be like, hey, I don't love what you're doing. Like, I love you, but I don't love what you're doing. Like, I have concerns because it's risky. I don't like that you're out there with multiple guys, uncontrolled. You know, it's you go to the club, meet a guy that night. You don't know what he has. You don't know where he's from. You don't know any of that. That's the problem with it. It's risky. Just, the analogy that I gave is it's risky, like speeding down the interstate, putting on your makeup. Like, it's all good until that one time you get into the accident. Like, that's the issue that I worry about when you talk about a thought daughter versus a gay son. I don't have a concern if my son's gay, right? It just is what it is. And because I'm going to love him the same and he can make good choices. Now, there's this stigma about gay men being thoughts, right? There's this stigma that gay men are freer and they just kind of have sex with whoever, blah, 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 blah. I would have an issue with that. So if my son was a thought, I'm going to have an issue with that. So I'll flip it to be, I would have a gay child versus a thought child, no matter what the gender was. So I wanted to bring it up because it really hit home that a lot of people actually, this was a hard decision for them. And I don't get that. I don't get how it can be a hard decision for you when it's your child living their truth and living their life versus your child making bad decisions. Because let's be honest, being a thought is a bad decision. So
yeah, Razi, I love how you put it, and what I took from what you said is, like, I will always love who you are, but I don't have to love what you're doing.
Yep.
So one is and this is because you hinted on, that this person, your son in this example, is born gay. So it is not what they're doing, because, often, one of the misconceptions is like, oh, this gay lifestyle, which is, I think, what you were talking about, the lifestyle where they think like they're so promiscuous and yada, 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 and sleeping around. That's just, maybe there is a certain segment of that community that, just like any community, heterosexual community, we're talking about thoughts now, there's thoughts in every community. But that's just not who they are. Like, you are born one way, and I'll always love you for who you are. But if what you're doing is different, then that I don't have to subscribe to what you're doing. I'll always love you, but I don't have to love what you're doing. And I think that's kind of part of life. And actually, that's probably one of the biggest challenges of life, is sometimes we ostracize people, and we can't separate from who they are from what they're doing. And
yeah, it goes back to that conversation we were talking about. Would you support your friend that did something bad, right? And it's like, I still love my friend, right? I don't support what they did. I don't condone what they did, but I still love my friend, and I'm gonna be there for them as a friend. And it's the same thing with your kids, man. So folks out there, if you have an issue with your child because of their sexuality or whatever, it's you, it's not them. That's all I can say about it. So, it's so funny. This is just totally aside, but Buff, I know you got Street Fighter 6 and you started playing it. Have you gone through the battle arena yet? In the opening scene, the announcer on it, he is transgendered or cross-dressed or whatever, and Ollie was watching it. He was like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, well, that's why they put it in the game, man. They put it in the game to show representation so that you can see it, and that you don't feel uncomfortable when somebody in person, like, you run up on somebody, because people are like that in real life. And if you come up to somebody like that and they are like that, you don't feel uncomfortable with it. You can interact with them and see them and know that is out there, and that's fine that they act that way or they dress like that way or whatever, because that's just them and they're a person, and you just got to respect them for that. And he was like, well, that's cool, but I still feel kind of weird. It's like, all right, man, I got you.
And that, ladies
but
and
that goes to show representations matter.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is called parenting. Because a lot of people like to fall behind, man, my kids saw that, man. Well, you know what? If your kids see something, if your kids see Janelle Monáe pull her titty out at Essence, first, why are they at Essence? Second, that's your chance as a parent to explain, hey, that's not something that you should do. You're not at that age. You know, she's an entertainer. Or you do like what Razi said, explaining what was going on with Street Fighter 2. Like, those are moments for you to be a parent and explain it. Because if they see that type of stuff and you're not around, then they're left to form their own opinion. Good job on that, Razi.
Yep. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
So I talked enough at the beginning, man. I can go without a question. I see we on a little over an hour, so I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try next time. I think we end up squeezing a question in. The last couple episodes, squeezing an extra question in either at the beginning or the end. That's not supposed to count as a question. So I think my apologies. The Keke Palmer question, which I feel like needed to be addressed because it's the hot topic of the week, right? That's what everybody's talking about. Wanted to address that. So let's go ahead and close it on out, fellas.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because it's time to save at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through February 23rd, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance boots, jackets, and sweaters. We're talking the best cold weather styles from Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All on sale for even less. All sales final. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's gonna be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
So we did talk a lot. Well, social media in general has talked about Keke Palmer quite a bit the last day or two. I assume it's going to die down in the next day or two.
It will.
But I am looking for that first post that tells us how this was a distraction and it was staged and how, you know, something bigger is going on. And I just want to use this platform to say that Americans are stupid. And so you don't really need to distract us. You don't need to distract us from anything. We distract ourselves. We're on our phones, we're watching TV, we're texting one another. The government doesn't need to really fabricate too many things to distract us. Yes, the government did do COINTELPRO. They have done some sneaky things in the past. I'm not saying they're not doing it now, but silly stuff like Usher and Keke, or 5 people dying to go see the Titanic. Nah, if they want to hide something, they'll just do it. They're not gonna like just distract us. Like when they push crack in our neighborhoods in the 80s, they didn't distract us from anything. They just did it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, like whatever they want to do, they're just gonna do it. Like they don't care if we find out. They'll just do it. So, I'm just waiting to see if any of that'll pop up with this Keke stuff. But I just wanted to use this platform to say we're dumb. We generally don't need anything to distract us because we do it ourselves.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely not a magic trick. They're not like look at the left hand while the right hand does something. It's like no, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna ram it down your throat. Like we're gonna do what we want.
Yeah, because people don't watch or read the news. More people know, especially Black people, know more about this Keke Palmer thing than the Supreme Court and the affirmative action. Like that conversation was not. I saw way more in-depth dissertations on this last subject than the former. So they could just put it out there and just not tell Black people or not tell people because, you know, as long as it doesn't make it social media.
Right. Yeah, because, you know, it was so funny because Facebook, I was going to kind of go into that. Facebook launched Threads. It's supposed to be the Twitter killer. And people ran over to Threads and set up their threads and started, I think threading is what they call it, but you can't actually set up a thread. You just got to reply to your actual first, can't call it tweet now, your post. I don't know. That's the thing. Like tweet is a verb and that's going to be hard for people to kind of think through. So Elon Musk is trying to sue Facebook or Meta or whatever it is they're called today based on he's like competition is fine, but flat out stealing is not, yada yada yada. He's just whining because he messed up Twitter pretty badly. And for the folks who get their news from social media and Twitter and everything like that, unless you're following reputable media like a CNN, a MSNBC, a Bloomberg, a HSN, somebody that New York Times, like a reputable news source, it's not news. You're not getting news from people's tweets. Like there are reputable news stations and organizations for a reason. Those people actually confirm things. They research. They make sure there's 2 or 3 things that can confirm something other than just somebody saying he said, she said. And you guys notice that I left off Fox News, and I did that for a reason, because they don't do that sometimes. Or if they do confirm it, they very much lean and they slice out things to give you a slant. But ultimately, they still are much, much better than, I don't know, some random .com site that you black box something. I saw a t-shirt that says science doesn't care what you think. And it really is like that when it comes to news. Like, it's not about your opinion and what you think happened and everything. It's what you can prove, what you can confirm. That's really what it's about. So I am excited about Threads because, one, is PG-13. There's not going to be a bunch of sex and all of that. I'm not going to open up my Twitter and just see booties and titties all of my threads. Open up my thread and see that. So, I am excited about it. I like the platform a little bit better. I think it's going to get much, much better as it goes. But it's just cool. It's refreshing. It's a new social media that I think is going to be around. They made 10 million followers in 7 hours, or 10 million users in 7 hours, where it usually takes people weeks to do that. So, it came on strong. So we'll see how it goes.
They were up to 70 million earlier this morning.
Yeah. Crazy.
What's hilarious is never felt sorry for a billionaire, but Elon Musk paid all this money for Twitter. Like, he got strong armed into paying his money for Twitter, and Mark Zuckerberg is like, hold my beer. And that's essentially what happened. Dude thought he had a monopoly on, because Twitter is such a simple concept.
Yeah.
It's just simple. And that's part of the lawsuit, is like, they're stealing our dude, it's not a hard algorithm, not a hard concept to understand. It's just a long thread. That's right. All it is of information. So very excited to see where this goes. It's super hilarious. Can't believe Elon is just big mad. They're being so petty. They released Mark Zuckerberg's email address, I think via Twitter. The lawyer somehow released that. Yeah, so that is the drama we live in. Well, I was going to mention that, but so thank you, Razi. All I want to mention, and you brought it up, you made me think about it, was, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Wonder Years, the new series. It's pretty good, and I just started watching it again. I think it's just a great representation of Black family at that point in time. All different personalities. It's just a timepiece, and I just kind of relate to it a lot, especially just being from Alabama. But in the season opener, it was the similar thing. They were in New York, and the son met when they were in New York, the next door neighbor was a cross-dresser, and that's how I think they could describe him in there, but it's transgendered, and but also from Alabama, and had to leave Alabama because he couldn't be himself. Like, he kept trying to be, he was an entertainer, but trying to be a version of himself that nobody would accept. And when he finally got to be, I forgot what his or her name was in the show, he had success. And the dad was very standoffish in the beginning. And similar to Ali, when the main character first saw him, he just stared. He's like, I don't know, what the hell is this? And but in the show, the dad realizes the man was a person, and they actually ended up working together and, you know, developing somewhat of a friendship. And he helped him develop his style and lead to success in the dad's career, who's also a composer, or he does music as well. So it was just cool to see the dynamics of people going outside of themselves and learning how to accept people for who they are and being able to develop a true friendship. And once again, back to representation, because this world, these conversations we're having aren't new. There's been people hiding themselves, running from them true selves for years. And, you know, it took 2000, probably 15, I'll say mid 10s, for people to start having these conversations and be more accepting. And I just hope it continues to get better, because representation does matter. Any questions, anything, y'all, final thoughts before we go ahead and close on out?
No, just shout out to Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. Thank y'all for listening. As always, if you need to listen to one of our back episodes, check us out, any podcasting platform. We are always there. You need to get some merch, go to 3brothersnosense.com, check us out there, and all our social media handles, 3 Brothers No Sense, or what is it, 3 Brothers on Twitter, and what else are we on, Buff? Buff owns all our social media stuff.
We're on Threads too now, aren't we, Buff?
Yeah, we're on Threads now as well. So 3 Brothers No Sense on Threads.
All right. So once again, 3 Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. 6 rules of podcast: listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.